What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? And today I want to talk about why the Atlanta Hawks are struggling. What is wrong with the Atlanta Hawks? And before we start today's video, I'd love to hear those thoughts down below in the comments section. Let me hear your opinions why you believe the Atlanta Hawks are struggling. And it looks like hopefully they'll be able to turn around and still make the playoffs because this team, when things are firing at all the right cylinders, they're very fun to watch. So let's get right in today's video. So I want your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like and subscribe for more daily content like this. So what is wrong with the Atlanta Hawks? It's quite a few things, most notably defense. There's no sense of urgency to get a stop, close out, most of all, get back on transition. They've been the worst transition defending team in the league, allowing over 1 point per possession in transition. And I'm pretty sure they are last in the league in that metric. I don't know if anyone can track that for me, please. Can't get stops off of live ball turnovers. Can't get out in transition when you're taking the ball out of the net every possession because you're allowing so many shots. The Hawks' point of attack defense has been horrendous all season. I know, Bogdanovich has never been a good defender, but at least he was average last year, sometimes maybe plus. Kevin Huerter has taken a whole step back on defense, and the late Atlanta Hawk Cam Reddish has also notably regressed defensively. Hunter has been in and out with various injuries over the last year, but he's their best perimeter defender when healthy. And Trae is Trae. We know what he is defensively. But he's not the player you are relying to hound on others defensively all night. And then Clint Capela, yes, he's missed a small amount of games because of injuries, but he's been healthy. And I know that hurts your team because you look at how bad the point of attack defense has been. The scheme has been to funnel ball handlers into Capela. And if he's not at the level he was at last year defensively, it's just a bad recipe. The team is relying on outscoring opponents when it only works sometimes against bad offenses in the league. Okay, there's more good offenses than bad offenses in the league. Hopefully moving Reddish has an addition by subtraction effect, by giving guys like Bogi, Hunter, and Kevin Huerter more minutes to get in rhythm and find their groove, okay? I thought the Hawks might be the team that would have the jump and become contenders, but I was scared that they would regress. And when I said I was scared they would regress, I didn't think they would regress this much. And while Trae has certainly proven he is an offensive superstar in the league, I still believe it could be difficult to build a contending team solely around him. I'm not saying to blow the team up, but it could need some retooling because of these reasons. You essentially need for all the players surrounding Trae Young to buy into their roles, that he dictates the offense on every possession as he's ball dominant, while simultaneously needing to constantly be active on defense to account for his constant defensive lapse and lack of effort on the defensive end. We've seen it at some extent be accomplished by Harden in Houston, with Capela no less, obviously, by surrounding him and James Harden with 3-and-D wings that were able to switch and stay alive on that end. However, Harden to some extent was fine switching on to bigger players and surrounding the role players that were, you obviously know, role players. The Hawks are filled with promising young players. However, not all of them fit the type of players that complement Trae perfectly. I would say DeAndre Hunter is perfect for Trae, but guys like Huerter, Bogdanovich, and Danilo Gallinari are mainly one-way offensive guys that either are defensive liabilities or just kind of neutral on that end. And both Bogdanovich and Danilo Gallinari have regressed on the defensive end since last year. And Clint Capela still looks good on defense, but he hasn't looked anything like the guy he was last year. With that incredible level of defense he was playing last year, they're not going to be the same team. The Hawks just look super vulnerable, giving up a lot of easy baskets. And you know what? The Hunters missed most of the season, and he did miss most of last year, but they were still able to make up for it. And he didn't miss most of it, but he missed a chunk of last year. And it certainly doesn't help that, this team is going into the middle of the season. And for the Cam Reddish fans, I know some people are surprised for what he got traded for. What it was less obvious is the impending cap hell that the Hawks are facing and how that plays a part. In the summer of 2023, the Hawks have $113 million in committed money in their cap to just 6 players: Trae Young, Clint Capela, John Collins, Onyeka Okongwu, Kevin Huerter, and Jalen Johnson. This is assuming Bogdanovich opts out of his contract and doesn't account for Hunter's deal that he's going to get. And Bogdanovich opts in, obviously, because that's going to pop to 130 million, and we know there's no way that Bogdanovich is going to opt out because he's kind of overpaid on his deal. So if Hunter is the player who he thinks he is, he's going to get a John Collins type contract that's going to put at least $150 million on the payroll, like together, which is only 8 players on the roster for 155. If you need a reference, that's the 6th highest payroll in the entire league. It's easy to understand that the Hawks didn't really have much leverage in keeping Cam. He hasn't proven himself. There was risk to match any restricted free agent sheet that could offer against, that any team could offer him, and they couldn't afford to keep him. And the very next season, they had to deal with Onyeka Okongwu's restricted free agent. And I'm not saying it's out of the ordinary, but paying 8 rotational players nearly $20 million each is out of the ordinary, okay? And I'm just saying it's pushing it to be one of the highest payrolls in the league. And I don't know, you could just go get 2 lottery picks paying them $10 million in each. So I think it's interesting to see how the Hawks decide to retool going forward. Realistically, they have to part ways with Bogdanovic and Danilo Gallinari while accepting probably very little in return. And I imagine they will have to get off of Clint Capela because the future should be, either John Collins or Onyeka Okongwu at center. I say Onyeka Okongwu, at center, John Collins at power forward, small forward, maybe you go Jalen Johnson, shooting guard, DeAndre Hunter, point guard, Trae Young, you put at 6-man Kevin Huerter. And that's my thoughts. I want to hear your guys'. Maybe I'm wrong. Like and subscribe.